Peace. New rotation. In today's video is in response to a number of questions that people keep asking me in regards to Palo Mayombe and Afro Brazilian Quimbanda. And the most common question that I keep getting on my WhatsApp is, Palo Mayombe stronger than Quimbanda? A spiritual tradition is as strong as it's the priest or priestess who wills it. If you know anything about cosmology, syncretization, and so forth, then you know that there are energies that match particular energies throughout the diaspora of spiritual traditions. I've broken this down in previous videos. This God is this God in this tradition, and so forth and so on. There is a belief in the Quimbanda tradition that Eshu and Pomajita, in particular lineages of Quimbanda, view and perceive Eshu and Pomajita as the top of the hierarchy, even over the Congo spirits, that they even govern over the Congo spirits. And then there's other lineages of Quimbanda who feel like the Congo spirits are the highest. So it all depends upon your perception. Either way, those traditions that deal or work with the magical vessel known as the Nganga, particularly Quimbanda Angola and other lineages. All lineages of Quimbanda don't work with the Nganga. Quimbanda Angola works with the Nganga. I would have to say that, as I've said before, a priest who is well versed and well knowledgeable in Quimbanda versus a priest who may be unskilled or unlearned in Palo Mayombe would appear to be stronger than that particular Tata, and vice versa. It has nothing to do particularly with the tradition itself. It has a lot to do with that priest or that priestess' ability to be able to work their spirits. If you don't know how to work your spirits and you don't know what you got, then yeah, Palo Mayombe would be stronger than Quimbanda. If you are a Quimbandero or you're a Palero and you don't know what you got, then yeah, Quimbanda is going to appear to be stronger than Palo Mayombe. This is inclusive of other traditions, such as voodoo and so forth. You know what I mean? You get you an elder out of Haiti who, has a significant amount of years of experience working with the Loa, versus a person who is brand new to Palo Mayombe or hasn't been taught Palo Mayombe or hasn't been taught Quimbanda. That individual would definitely have an effect on that person's life if there was some type of spiritual conflict going on. So what it really comes down to is you have to, because people want to get into the strongest thing. It's not about necessarily getting into the strongest tradition as much as it is about becoming strong in the tradition that your ancestors guide you to get initiated into. So don't get caught up in whether or not one tradition is stronger than the other one. What you need to be focused on is how much are you willing to put into that tradition in order to get strong in that tradition? Or are you only joining that tradition because of the perception that the community has given of it, and you consider it to be the most powerful, or you consider it to be a tradition where you can manifest your carnal desires and things of that nature. One thing that I've noticed about my conversion and transition from being primarily a Palo Mayombe practitioner to being a Quimbandero is that most people would consider Quimbanda to be the evil or dark side of Palo in a sense, because there's no taboos, because it's based on Eshu and Pombogira, who are, syncretically associated with, with Lucifer and Samael and Lilith and so forth, in certain Quimbanda lineages or what have you. But to be honest with you, I've honestly experienced way more light in Quimbanda than I have when I was primarily a Palo Mayombe practitioner. Okay, I'm experiencing a lot more light. My spirits, my spirits appear to be way more elevated, and that goes in alignment with the Quimbanda Angola philosophy that Eshu and Pombogira are very highly evolved entities that basically look over all of the other entities, even the Congo spirits or the Inkisis and so forth, or the Orishas. I'm sorry. But then you have a line in Quimbanda, like I said, where the Congo spirits are looked at as higher than everything and so forth. And Eshu and Pombogira are looked at as deities or entities who are subordinate to the Congo spirits and so forth. So you got one lineage that think this way, you got another lineage that think that way. Same type of concept that goes on in Palo Mayombe. You got one branch that does it this way, you got one branch that does it that way, but at the end of the day, the branches wouldn't exist if those people were not getting results in what it is that they're doing. So when you ask yourself, is Palo Mayombe stronger? It's really all about whether or not that individual is an engangulero. If you are an engangulero, see, it's one thing to be a palero, to say you're a palero, I'm a palero. Palo means stick. So a palero is a person that plays with sticks. You never really hear me ever call myself a palero. You're either a tata, you're either a engangulero, you're either whatever, depending upon what branch of Palo you are, you're either a Mayombero, a Briombero, a Quimbizero, and so forth, or a Quimbandero. But if you are a master of your Nganga, then you are, for all intents and purposes, an Engangulero. And if a person who is a master of their Nganga, in any tradition, whether it be Quimbanda, because what you have to understand is that the Ngangas in Quimbanda, their temperament is different from the Ngangas in Palo. They still pretty much work the same way in regards to the science of necromancy, but the temperament of Eshu and Pombogira versus the temperament of an Nkisi is very different. And just like each Nkisi has its own particular attributes and its own particular powers and abilities, each Eshu, in which there are hundreds, each have their own attributes and individual powers, many times being very unique from that of an Nkisi. So you can't always syncretize energies from Quimbanda to like Palo or something like that, because there are issues that exist in Quimbanda where you will not find no type of spirit that exists like that in Palo Mayombe or Voodoo. Okay? So it really comes down to how well the priest or the priestess has an understanding and a comprehension of the spiritual system in which they are a part of. Because there are also powers and things in Palo Mayombe that you may not find in Afro-Brazilian Quimbanda. But if an individual knows how to work what he has, and an individual knows the tradition in and out that he's a part of, then comparing it to any other tradition, he or she could give that individual a run for their money. So keep that in mind when you guys are trying to determine which tradition you want to get into and things of that nature. A lot of times what you want to do whenever you're trying to decide what type of tradition you want to get into is you want to get a consultation from somebody and you want to find out what your ancestors want you to do. It's simple. You know what I mean? You don't have to make the mistake of being initiated in Palo Mayombe and then having issues in Palo Mayombe ultimately because your ancestors did not even agree with that tradition or want you to go in that tradition. You may have ancestors that want you to go into Obia. You may have ancestors that want you to go into Voodoo. You may have ancestors that want you to go into Quimbanda. You may have ancestors that want you to go into Ifa. You may have ancestors that only want you to work with Egun and no other spirits at all. You should get a consultation. This is the most responsible thing to do. Instead of listening to people, instead of just, because people out here selling initiations to get the bag. I don't sell initiations to get the bag. Because Ifa told me that I should not chase godchildren, that I should let Ifa choose my godchildren. So I don't chase the bag when it comes to initiations. If it's meant for you to be initiated, then you will be initiated when time permits. You know what I mean? But to avoid making the mistake of getting involved in a tradition that may not necessarily be in alignment with your ancestry, simply get a consultation from someone like myself or anybody else who you feel is qualified and let them consult with your ancestors on what tradition and lineage that you need to be a part of in order to have the greatest success. Okay? That was one of the mistakes that I made when I first got into ATR, where I didn't check with my ancestors and I didn't consult with my ancestors. I went straight to the tradition and started talking to the spirits of the tradition because ultimately those spirits are going to say, well, yeah, we want you. We want you. This person got Ache. This person got Ache. Yeah, we want to work with them. They can get initiated. But, of course, those spirits are going to say that because they see you as a worthy vessel to work through if you already got Ache. But if you go to your ancestors may say, well, no, even though you have the Ache to work with the Nkisi, or even though you have the Ache to work with the Eshu and Pomojitas, we want you to only work with us, or we're going to make sure that your path in any of those traditions is troublesome. You see? So you got to understand, the chain of command in this thing. You know what I mean? You always go to your own blood before you go to some outside spirits to make sure that the people that came before you agree with you going down that path because they want you to keep a particular type of practice in your lineage because that's what made your lineage strong in the first place. If you have an affinity, if your ancestors have an affinity towards working with the Loa and having the practices of Haitian culture, then by all means, if that comes up in your consultation, you should seek out an individual who can help you to facilitate that type of marriage with the Loa so that you can effectively practice Haitian culture. Or you can, if vice versa, you have a connection to the Congo in that sense, you can ask your ancestors, would it be advisable for you to either tap into Palo Mayombe or Quimbanda, because both have connections to the Congo, and whichever one fits your temperament, then that's the one that you would want to go into. You know what I mean? That's the one that you would want to venture into because that's the one that you're going to learn the most from. And these types of questions can be asked to your ancestors during consultation, And will I grow more in Palo Mayombe or will I grow more in Quimbanda? And the ancestors will let you know what tradition you will grow more in and which tradition will take you farther. It's not about I want to make money in this, I want to make money in that, or I want to get power in this, I want to get power in that. Which one is going to help you to have the most balanced life is what you want to do. And only your ancestors can truly answer that because they are going to be the main ones supporting your journey into any tradition. I hope that made sense to y'all. But that's pretty much all I got to say about that on this particular video. If y'all have any questions, you can always hit me up on my WhatsApp. And, by clicking the link in the description of the video, you can also book a consultation. Um, and you can also join my channel and get prepared for these classes that are about to come. I apologize to those people who are already members. Haven't been posting any content yet because I've been dealing with a lot of other projects. But we're definitely about to get those classes uploaded for you, so that y'all can start learning about the tradition of Quimbanda and Gola as the way that we practice it here. All right. So I'll see y'all on the next video. Sarava.